After spending the night with Klombo, Danielle decided it was time to return to the village and make sure that they were all okay. After making it back to the village, she saw some more people had managed to join the village, and that she needed to plan her next adventure and explore the strange region of the Lost Isles. And so, she decided to go and explore the islands surrounding the village, where she found rollers and strange statues like the ones found on the ground. So trying to run away from the rollers, she accidentally woke a golem, which, without Klombo, she did not know if she could defeat, because they are way too powerful. Being under attack, she did not have many choices but to flee. Making sure she was safe from the golem, because it had the ability to throw large rocks. But the golem eventually lost interest and disappeared. The next day, she decided she was going to explore more of this region, and she managed to find a strange, purplish area with a lake in it. Finding an island in the center and a Klombo statue, ended up awakening a large, very large Klombo creature. This must be the Klombo's mother, because it is larger and seems to stay in this little lake, but still likes the berries. Deciding to continue on her adventure, she began to leave the small lake. Looking back towards the Klombo, it descended into the lake like it was never there. But she decided it was time to go and continue on her adventure, so she built herself a little vehicle which could help traverse through the region. Moving through the region, she found a strange stone temple village full of angry tomato people that seemed they have been taken over by the storm, where they are more powerful and dangerous. After managing to fight off the tomato people, she continued on her adventure, exploring the Lost Isles and what it has to offer. as it is not like anything in any other regions she's been in, or anything her father has seen either. There are many creatures and dangers in this land. But she happened to stumble upon a cave, which she decided that she should go explore what was inside and fight off the local wildlife that's trying to kill her. As she enters the cave, she finds it very lush and it is not a dark and dismal place like most caves she's been in. But it also happens to still be a strange cave. There's loot and many other things in this cave, so it must mean that there are creatures living in here, or some sort of inhabitants. She stumbles upon the first big chamber, finding it absolutely massive. There are ancient tomato ruins in this village, but there are also pirates. Dangerous folk, but not as dangerous as the tomatoes. After making her way to the end of the cave, she found more loot, which must have been gathered from the pirates, and a strange lake, which was very peaceful for being this far in the cave. She also found a whirlpool, which sucked her down inside of it, pulling her through an underwater tunnel, then popping her back out at the cave entrance. That strange lake she found before. Seeing that there was no other tunnels, and that she must have went back in a full circle, she decided it was time to go and keep exploring. As she continued to enjoy the region, she found another big lake with islands and strange fauna inside the place, as there was also a lot of flora. But she found another cave, but this one was much different. As she went deeper inside, it was not as lush at the entrance like the other caves, but as she continued in, it became more and more jungle-like, almost as something was living here. She continued down the main path, as she stumbled upon a very, very large Columbo sleeping in the middle of the cave. This Columbo was very large compared to the other two she found, and she might wake it and it would be very angry and collapse the cave on top of them. So she was very cautious and tried not to wake it, but still get close so she could figure out what it was doing and why it was this large. She determined that this must be the father Columbo, and that the youngest, small one is the baby, and the mother is inside the lake, as she had found earlier in her adventure, and the father was simply sleeping here. She marked her gratitude for finding this, and decided that she would keep exploring the cave, and would return to bring her research equipment so she could understand the Colombos better. Right now, she's just been exploring and not properly researching. As she began to drive back home, she ran into baby Colombo. But as she jumped out to view Colombo, a bunch of pirates attacked. So she began to run, but they began to attack Colombo instead, making baby Colombo not overly excited. So she tried to fight off them, but Colombo still got mad. Colombo began to attack the pirates, and Danielle together. She's trying to stay out of the way of Columbo's blast so she does not get killed. Trying to hide on the other side of the vehicle, Columbo smashes it into nothing but parts. And not even all of it was recoverable. Trying to calm Columbo down with berries, we began frantically dodging the blasts of Columbo. Finally, having Columbo calmed down, she made sure that he was calm before she would interact with him. With Columbo now calm, she decided that the only way right back to the village is probably to ride Columbo. After thinking of a plan, she decided that's the only way, made sure that Columbo had enough energy for the ride home, and decided to set off back towards the village. On her way back, she found a strange structure glowing with energy similar to what her father's was. She made sure the coast was clear before she would dare to interact with it so no skeletons would attack. Seeing that it needed wood, she decided that it was best to use Columbo to try to get the wood. After all, he destroyed her car in one smash. After getting the necessary amount of wood, the wolf decided to attack Columbo. Columbo simply laid down and defenseless, even though it could defend himself. Defeating the wolf, she made sure Columbo was okay, before deciding to continue with doing whatever this strange structure wanted. Another wolf attack, she quickly eliminated it, making sure that nothing else came while she was distracted and didn't want Columbo to become angry again. Placing the wood inside the strange structure's altar began to crack and make humming sounds, opening a rift. With the rift open, it spawned a large amount of spiders from nowhere. Defeating the spiders opened another rift. This time bigger. Expecting some danger, she only found a chest, making sure Columbo hadn't wandered off too far, though Columbo was under attack from a skeleton. Opening the chest to make sure that there wasn't anything too valuable in there. Finding main resources for the village, decided to keep them, make sure Columbo's okay, and make her way back to the village. Finding out she must have fallen asleep while riding on Columbo. Columbo had wandered up on the side of a mountain as it began to rain, waking her up. She quickly got off to figure out where she was and what's going on, making sure Columbo still had enough energy to continue, and taking out any threats like rollers. Looking at the map, she decided that it wasn't a very good idea to fall asleep while riding on Columbo, as she ended up falling asleep and wandering off further away. Though she continued on this journey, walking back to the village while riding Columbo, as it would take far longer to walk on foot, and Columbo was quite a speedy giant. Eventually finding the lake from earlier where she had found the Columbo mother, decided to go and take a trip through it, seeing if it will come back now that she has the baby Columbo with her as well. And she was very right. Both the mother Columbo and the baby Columbo seemed to recognize each other, and were both very overjoyed. Deciding to continue back towards the village, she got back on the baby Columbo, and could see the floating islands where the village was built upon. As she continued up the mountain, she found the cliffside where the baby Columbo was at earlier, running through and smashing the walls open, protecting it from any skeletons that might fear show up in the night. She got off, made sure to feed the Columbo, as it had helped her get back home, and it needed a reward. Making it back up to the village, it was becoming dark again. It was raining and nasty, so she decided to go back up and take a proper nap, seeing that the villagers still happy with their current conditions, working, exploring as well. She decided to get some more berries, which she had planted earlier, and just spend some time with them. It was the next day, and she knew what she should do. She should go and explore the large cave with the Columbo father in it, and just research more about them and the plants in this world. So she went and gathered her stuff, and decided to get the ship ready for flight again. As she flew over the region of the Lost Isles, it began to become night, but she thought it was still very peaceful as she continued to sail across the sky towards the cave that had the Columbo father in it. After a stressful descent into the lake, which was near the cave that led to the Columbo father, she slowly let the ship down, making sure not to crash it into the land, but still being stressed over it was a tight spot to land. But she successfully landed the ship into the water with no two problems, as it was nice here and she can easily get the ship out and leave. After building a dock at the lake where she could get to the ship better instead of having to swim to it, she decided to go deep into the cave and build a proper research place to study the Columbo. With the building of the research facility complete, she decided to go take a tour for herself and just explore. She built a nice dock at the base of the waterfall. She can just enjoy the peace of the water falling. She continued down the path, which she had lit with lanterns. She continued down to the main chamber, which held the Columbo. She built a viewing platform and a staircase going around to the back side of the cave. She admired the Columbo's majesticness. She built a storage shed on the side of the cave, next to some mushrooms she could research. As she continued along, the paths weaving through with the stone, she made herself a garden where she could make berries for the Colombos. She built herself a small house to stay in and stuff. many places to go and admire the flora in this cave, and places to go and view the sleeping Klombo from, as it seems nothing can wake it from. Perhaps it is hibernating. We sat there peacefully watching the Klombo, with the baby Klombo going around in the brush behind it. She just enjoyed the peace and quiet. But then she felt an uneasy feeling, but yet it was familiar. It was something she could not recognize. She turns around, seeing her father standing before her, thinking it is impossible for him to be there as he has been dead for many years. She asks one question: "Are you real?" "Yes, I am real, Danielle. It is me, your father, Jedidiah. I have come to tell you I am very proud of what you have accomplished in my absence. You have explored many things, some things I only dreamed of ever seeing. I am only here because of the magic of this place, its strange, majestic powers here. You have done a great deal, and I admire you for that." "Thank you, Father. I have always tried to make you proud. Thank you for wrangling the Klombo up for me. It makes my job a lot easier. The Ageless thanks you for doing that, and so do I." Danielle standing there, confused, as the stranger had stolen the baby Klombo, wondering who this Ageless was. She quickly decided to chase after him before he could get away with the baby Klombo. But looking back, she sees her father is no longer standing there, but she has more pressing matters there. She needs to find this strange man and bring back the baby Klombo from whoever this stranger is. Leaping to the surface, she found no evidence of anyone ever being there, no ships or vehicles. She had nothing to do. She went to chase after, but her boat had been damaged, the engine core had been destroyed, and it would take too long to repair it. As she couldn't repair it, she decided it was time to go back to the village and try to use a distress signal, seeing if any of her friends was able to come rescue her and help her save this Klombo. She put up a distress signal, but with no idea if anyone would even come and hear it. The only thing she could do was think to herself and stare off into the sunset, with no idea if she would even be able to rescue this baby Klombo, or where this stranger could have went.